Dawn breaks, and smoke rises from the first human village. A woman grinds wild seeds, her palms dusted with flour. This simple act is the seed of a revolution. For with cultivated grain and domesticated herds came surplus. Surplus required storage, and storage required a guardian. Suddenly, humanity was tied to the land, and from this bond, specialization grew, leaders, laws, and the first debates over who commands and why. Along the great rivers, the Tigris, the Euphrates, the Nile, cities rose from sun-baked mud. On clay tablets, the first laws were written, the first debts recorded. From counting barley to carving justice, power learned to leave a record, and records made power last. From the Indus Valley to the high Andes, planned streets and sacred platforms turned settlements into systems. But what holds a city, a kingdom, together? Shared stories, enforced rules, and faith. Hinduism and Buddhism offered paths of duty and release. Judaism forged an identity through covenant and law. Later, Christianity and Islam would build communities that transcended borders and empires, lending legitimacy to rulers and a moral voice to rebels. These ideas traveled. They moved with the caravans on the Silk Roads and sailed on monsoon winds across the Indian Ocean. With silk and spices came algebra, the compass, and plague. The world's new networks made it both resilient and terribly fragile. The world shrinks to a single creaking deck. Near the Azores, around the year 1500, a pilot squints at a grease-smudged chart. The descendants of our first villagers are here, their hands rough with hemp and hope. Within a single generation, they would stitch the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Indian Oceans into one connected and deeply unequal world. Silver from Andean mines flooded markets in Asia. Maize from the Americas fed Africa, while horses remade the Great Plains. But connection demanded a terrible price. Pathogens decimated ancient cities, and the transatlantic slave trade tore millions from their homes to power a new world economy. Ideas traveled too. The telescope and the printing press focused human curiosity, sparking a scientific revolution and an enlightenment that insisted nature could be measured and rights could be claimed. Coal and steam remade the very nature of work. Nations formed, and empires expanded. Then, in the wake of 2 world wars, the great empires receded. Around 1945, a new order emerged from the ashes, shadowed by a Cold War but illuminated by a growing call for universal human rights. And this history is not over. It lives in our globalized supply chains and the digital networks that define our lives. We still wrestle with questions of authority and belonging, whether in online communities or through the lens of artificial intelligence. The ancient challenges of inequality, climate, and pandemic risk now constrain our shared future. The task ahead is the same as it has always been: to rewrite the terms of our connection.